You know, if you're anything like me, you wake up some mornings and you just have this great energy and you just feel great about life and you just want to just embrace everything. And then after a few days, it starts to fade and you go back to feeling kind of bummed out. And then you feel good again. And it's all about balance. But more than that, something that comes to mind during situations like that is I remind myself that there is no one situation that works for every person on earth. And that's so fucking true. I mean, you can't just say, well, everybody just needs to love one another. That doesn't work. Or love your enemy, or and fight fire doesn't with fire doesn't work either. I mean, my point being that there is no one system that works for every situation. And I get really tired of idealists that post these, blogs or write books or whatever about the way that the world could be or should be just by their eyes and their perception and their narrow-minded view. And completely forgetting that everyone thinks differently and everyone has different ideas. And I just wanted to kind of point that out, that every day we see other people and think, why can't they be like this? Or why can't they do this? Or they should do this. Or if someone you know is being abused and they're not standing up for themselves and you say, well, you should do something about it. And then another person would tell them, well, you should just deal with it. That's just how people are. You have to accept it. And I go fucking nuts trying to figure out how to handle situations in my own life. And I know all of you do too. We try to take the past and see if we can expand on it and see, what's worked for other people and make it work for us. And then we'll find something just completely does not work for us. So each person in their own mind and their own time figures out a way to process the information in the best way that works for them. But just remember, when you find something that really works for you and it really puts you into a good way of being, don't be one of those cocky assholes that has to rub off on everybody else. Say, oh, hey, I quit smoking. You should quit smoking. I started eating healthy. You should start eating healthy. I made this big change in my life, and you should make this change. I used to have long hair, and I remember somebody who cut their long hair off, and they wanted everybody else to cut their hair. They're like, oh, it's so much better having short hair. Of course, you just want people to join into your way of thinking because it works for you. But then 10 years down the road, you realize, ooh, that wasn't so great, whatever it was. I just wanted to kind of point that out, to remember that before you open your mouth and try to tell someone how they should be, see if it really works for you, and then see how well it works for everyone. And I challenge anyone to find one scenario that works for everybody in the world, because it's really not going to happen. It just got me thinking about how people are very abusive in other countries and fight one another, and they learn to, battle with swords and knives and clubs, and they have no remorse. And this is how their minds have developed, because through years of fighting and war and hatred, and just because we have our happy little job to go to, come home and do our little family thing, doesn't mean everybody else has that. So there is no one thing that works for everyone. So anyway, just a thought from mine. Now I'm going to go back inside and figure out what does work.